Hello, I'm Mike Corn, and welcome back to my perfect playthrough of Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn. And having beaten Sonic & Knuckles on the easy setting, as we see here, we now unlocked all the time attack stages for us to complete. And based on those times, I reckon this will take a really long time to complete. And by the way, I will also be covering all the special stages, provided of course I manage to beat this thing in a reasonable amount of time. Sonic & Knuckles is probably the longest of the core Genesis Sonic games on a speedrunning basis. Like, it might not have as many levels, but this game definitely is responsible for Sonic 3 & Knuckles' overall length. Sonic 3 may have some decently long levels, but there's only 6 of them. Anyways, I jumped over there so I could go down here. And this is basically the only time I will ever parrot the route I took for all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic & Knuckles. And Sonic & Knuckles easy campaign, because for the rest of this time, it's best to just stay up top. Why? So I can nab the flame shield. And I made pretty decent time. Did this just for the sake of protection with the flame shield. Especially since, while I could go a little faster than this, it's probably not going to be by a substantial amount. This, as again, was just done so I could get the flame shield, so I don't have to worry about the flames from the sub-boss. Now for Act 2. And, okay, I can at least somewhat understand these lengths for Mushroom Hill if we could still access the special stages, but as you could see previously, the special stage rings are all gone in time attack mode. So, yeah. Again, there really isn't much of a time save by ignoring this. This is just so I can get to this destination a little faster. Definitely kind of close in a few bits. Instant shield for the win. And now I can just speedrun my way to this thing that I've been avoiding the entire stage as much as possible because it's super slow, but at this point we have no other choice. Should go a little faster if we had Tails, but Tails is not in this game. I want to get as many hits on this boss as possible. So we could beat this guy with as little effort. Pretty fast, could be a little faster, but you know, I'm satisfied with the time that I got. And now we've cleared out all of Mushroom Hill now. I do think the best... Now, as I said previous so many times, for the 4th time, Sonic and Knuckles on normal time attack is literally based on the game's normal difficulty setting, but there are a few notable differences. Obviously, the first is there are no special stages in time attack mode. All the rings are just gone. And I'm not just talking about the ones in Flying Battery 1 that are absent. Sorry, not Flying Battery 1, Flying Battery 2 that are absent. They are all absent in time attack mode. And while we're at, so are all the bonus rounds that you can achieve with the star posts. I'll wait till this thing passes, and then I can use the flame shield. Avoiding the badniks, which is why I didn't reach for the ones on top. I go down here. And I want to steer to the left so I can lay on this platform. This will probably be a bit of a shortcut if I can get these timings down. Lay on this platform safely. And this time I want to go down here. And believe it or not, that was another giant ring we could have gotten. And believe it or not, now we are taking out the sub-boss. And this is probably... And I'm gonna tell you straight up, yeah, Act 1 is kind of... Mushroom Hill is fine from a speedrunner standpoint. But all these Act 2 Act 1 sub-bosses are some of the worst to speedrun through. What you're seeing here is literally the fastest you can beat this thing. I even Super Sonic can speed through that. I probably could have taken a couple hits near the end so I could damage my nip for a faster result screen. But oh well. Flying Battery 2, we cleared this one pretty quickly last time. This one can also give you some problems. Right now, everything appears to be fine. Now there are spikes on the wall, so you can't just fall through the cracks. As per usual, I consider the top section faster than the bottom. There's just so many roundabouts that you have to worry about. And of course, unlike original play, there are those platforms that at the very least work to protect you from falling to your death. It's pretty clear to me that the RNG is not exactly on my side. Some of the time, some of the RNG for these contraptions is a little off from my liking. I mean, this section's fine. But that's one thing I hate when trying to speedrun a Sonic game, it's being forced to wait. I'll have to do right here because we missed the cycle. I don't know how to get all the way here any faster. It seems like it's programmed to do this as soon as you get near it. And of course, I try to take advantage of I see where I get through that wall, clip through that wall, try to pass this section as quickly as possible. And it works, so I'm stuck. The worst part is you can exit out on the left side, get out of bounds that way, but now you might be wondering, why not just damage the laser? We have the Thunder Shield. Well, that's only possible. You can only kill the Thunder Shield, the thing with the Thunder Shield in Sonic Origins Plus. In Sonic 3, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, in Sonic and Knuckles, that's not possible. It takes way too many hits to kill it. And this is barely slower than last time. And obviously this will be slower than last time, by virtue of the fact that now it takes 8 hits to kill a boss in this game instead of 3. Or in the case of the sub-bosses, it's more like 6 hits. One, two, three. I'll wait until he starts. 4, 5. That should do it. Get about as fast as I can go with Inflamed Battery Act 2. These levels are only gonna get longer. Oh boy, these levels are gonna get so much longer. But there is another difference between just playing the main campaign in normal difficulty versus playing on time attack, which is coming up in a couple more levels. You see, this isn't applicable to Sandalpolis 1 or 2, but it is applicable in 2 other levels, Lava Reef 2 and Death Egg 2. And that's that the campaign does not force you to fight the climactic boss fights in either stage. By that, I mean not the main boss of Lava Reef 2, you don't have to fight him, and you don't have to... Oh yeah, that sand thing isn't there on normal, whereas it should be in original. The second thing is the final Death Egg boss file is completely omitted in time attack mode. And I'll get to why in a bit, but right now, no matter which path I'm going, I'm taking this really slowly. Believe it or not, the character that can get through this stage the fastest is Tails. And who, again, is completely absent from vanilla Sonic and Knuckles. And by the way, if you saw the trailers, you noticed that the only add-on game that's features in the Japanese trailer footage I showed you was Knuckles in Sonic 2, not Sonic 3 and Knuckles, not Blue Sphere. This is because Blue Sphere and Sonic 3 Knuckles do not have extra modes. In fact, Blue Sphere doesn't even have a difficulty setting. So, but let's just Sonic. I ultimately determined that the route I took with Sonic is by himself is the fastest route for him possible. Now this boss, it has, of course, the similar super slow problem that the Flying Battery 1 boss had. Now he's super slow. And the strategy I'm going to enforce here is by far the slowest in the game, but it is the most effective. Actually, it is the fastest strategy and it's slow as fuck. Well, bright side, at least you get to see Sonic's idle animation. Usually when I'm speedrunning, I don't have the luxury of showing that off, but I do now. Now, once he jumps once more, I can insta-shield him into the sinking sand. And in the boss fight, with a sub 3-minute time, not much of a time save. Actually, it isn't a time save at all because I have 68 rings. But yeah, I brought all that up because the end of Act 1 cutscene gets completely skipped over when we begin Act 2. Which is different from, of course, vanilla Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. This is a stage where going fast is gonna be damn near impossible, so I'm going to have to skip those turning on the lights a ton. Screen on dark too long, those ghosts will eventually turn hostile and start attacking you. I saw a problem now. But it will be a problem if I let it. So that was completely freeze, which is why I just took it. Still have the luxury of leaving the screen go dark a few times. That was one of the few instances where I lit up the screen for safety reasons. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way for me to get up there from here, so I'm back to just waiting for the sand to go up. And I got 100 rings via an item box, which got me an extra life, which is kind of pointless because it's... because this is a time attack. Which is also why I'm ignoring the other extra life right there, or those rings. And something worth noting is this is one of the few, that Saintopolis Act 2 is one of the few endlessly looping stages in Sonic and Knuckles. The other being Sky Sanctuary, though there's really nothing of use that we can make out of Sky Sanctuary's endless loop, because there are death planes everywhere in that level. At this point, I don't think I have to worry about turning the lights back on ever again, because all I have to do is go down here and the lights will immediately turn on for the boss fight. It's kind of slow and kind of pathetically easy, especially since I have the Thunder Shield. If I had Super Sonic, this would go over super quickly. And similar to Flying Battery 2, I'm just simply hamstrung by the ability to go any faster than this, by the sheer length of the zone. Sorry, of this act. Now, Lava Reef Act 1 is going to be pretty merciful on me, especially since I know the layout of that level pretty well. Lava Reef Act 2 will provide another huge benefit boon for us, and as far as speedrunning is concerned. Especially since we don't have to fight the Act 2 boss. This will be good for a while. Of course, we want to take this spike down, so continue on. Right now, I'm just holding on to my Thunder Shield because it can be pretty helpful for this early phase. And no extra lives means and no special stages means we don't have to worry about the giant rings. We can just ignore them. Now I take the lower path here. Clearly we want to take that flame shield, or we will basically ride it all the way to the very end of the level. Oh yeah, wait a little bit, but that's fine. And because there's no Super Sonic, I don't have to do damage used to lose the shield. I'm gonna try to take out these appendages one at a time. Oh, and I snuck in a hit against that other appendage. You gotta jump on this hand 3 times though. The spin dash method will not work. On this hand, you will take damage. Unless you're Super Sonic, you will take damage if he tries to crush you while you're, even from a spin dash point of view. Even while spin dashing. So this is about as fast as I can go. Could maybe make it a little faster in bits and pieces though. But that is the fastest route. Now Act 2. It is honestly amazing that they gave us 8 minutes to speedrun this entire act. And what makes it even crazier is that the Lava Reef Act 2 boss is completely omitted. That would have been the big reason for the huge speedrun, since that is the longest winded boss fight in the entire game. It takes 16 hits to beat this Act 2 boss, 16 hits, and you can't damage him manually. So you have to go through 4 bloody cycles just to make sure he runs out of health. Around taking is the fastest route. Just being careful here. Man, these cycles have been nothing but short of brutal so far. And there's a huge shortcut where what would be the final special stage ring in the game, right here. A huge shortcut that cuts a decent chunk of the level out entirely. So yeah, you would think our next destination, why it takes 8 minutes to complete, would be because we have to face the stage 2 boss fight. Which could take like 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes to beat. With very little chance of getting a faster time. But alas, once we get pushed off by that boulder, that's the end of the level. That's because the boss arena, or Lava Reef 2, is treated as its own separate act for some reason. Same goes for the final Death Egg fight in Death Egg 2. It is treated as its own separate act from the rest of Death Egg Act 2. Such gets skipped over because the developers never thought of speedrunning us through those boss fights. They probably intended for us to fight them, but screwed up somewhere. And by the way, since we don't have access to Supersonic or the bonus rounds, we're just gonna take on Knuckles as we are. And the strategy, so he comes out of a spin dash, or while he's gliding, you attack him from underneath when he's gliding, or you want to jump on top of him when he spin dashes. Once you get him into a easily repeatable loop like that, you can get a pretty fast time there, and the timer remains frozen all throughout. So really, the only thing I'm speedrunning here is just getting to the end, is to just get to the results screen as quickly as possible, so I could quickly move on to Sky Sanctuary. So, and the reason for the really short length, Hidden Palace is really just a cinematic level that you happen to be able to play through. It even reuses the Lava Reef 2 music, and in the level select screen is often credited as Lava Reef 4. So Sky Sanctuary 1 now. 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And unlike in the game's easy mode, there is no way to cheese past the first Sonic fight. We have to fight all 3 of them. We would be able to cheese all 3 of the the first 2 Sonic fights, had we had access to Tails, or if we could actually take advantage of the stage's endlessly looping nature. But no, we can't. Because even though the stage loops endlessly, there are also too many death planes for us to get that barricade us from looping down. See, there are no clouds up there, so we can't skip the Act 1 boss. But with the Thunder Shield, we could hop on top of his head. These are all treated as main bosses as opposed to sub-bosses because they all take 8 hits as opposed to 6. Not gonna take the flame shield because that's pretty useful. Especially for this boss. Once you get the first hit in, all you have to do is keep jumping up. And you can breeze through them super easily. Alright. So have the Thunder Shield on. And you want to take a few steps away from his back so you can... Beating him is kind of similar, without taking damage, is kind of similar to how I would always beat Silver Sonic in Sonic 2. Actually, the Silver Sonic in Sonic 2 is often credited as Mecha Sonic, and this is the Mecha Sonic Mark II. Or is it Mecha Sonic? I don't know why, which honestly makes the continuity involving Sonic CD being set between Sonic 1 and 2 not make hardly a ton of sense. I do think Sega's original plan to have Sonic CD set during the events of Sonic 4 would have made the most sense to me. Especially given how directly linked the events of Sonic CD are to those of Sonic 4. But Sonic 4 was a flop and they cancelled episode 3, so the story never finished and was retconned out of the main timeline. It was Christian Whitehead's team, by the way, while working on Sonic Origins, where they decided that Sonic CD is actually set between Sonics 1 and 2. So I'm taking the upper route because it's easier. And by the way, the bubble shield is actually a bit helpful, surprisingly helpful in the early bits, as it can help strain us out a bit. I'll wait for that thing to come out though. And now is now time for us to swap in the Thunder Shield. Ethics 1 and 2's level design can be a bit trolly, which is why they have such disgustingly high times needed to complete them. Alright, you take care of your shields. You know the level layout by heart. And by the way, Tails can absolutely demolish the stage if you had him. Probably have a much harder time with Sonic with Sonic though, but he can absolutely demolish the stage single-handedly. This is the only time you'll ever see Sonic hitch a ride on this thing, simply because there's no other way to get up there. At least not with just Sonic. But I managed to get here in just 2 minutes. Gotta wait till those balls go down. And I hop hitchail right up top. Still want my Thunder Shield because it's great to have. And this was a lot harder to pull off without getting hit than you would realize. And that's another stage wrapped up. Now for Death Egg Act 2, 6 minutes. Which kind of has a similar problem to Lava Reef 2, where it's clear that Sega probably intended us to take on the final Death Egg fight, the one I showed off last time when I beat the game on this easiest setting. However, the final Death Egg fight is often treated as a different act from Death Egg 2. It is probably best credited as Death Egg 3. Similar to the Lava Reef 2 boss fight, is generally seen as just credited as Lava Reef 3. A bit slower than last time here, but at least I'm making a concentrated effort to get a good time here. Those springs can be a bit trolly. There's really no way to get faster than this, since they only appear on one side or the other. Here, there's no way to get any faster because we need to wait for this thing to rise up. Luckily, just a little bit, but still, it's a bit of waiting. And side note, this is still faster than taking that swirly thing. Same for here. And of course here. I'm gonna try to take this Thunder Shield all the way to the very end. He completely trivializes this entire stage. Now the strategy is to wait till he goes underneath me and then spin dash so it hits him dead center. Do it again. I do that one blind, and I was lucky to get 4 or 1. And got it perfectly. I could not have fought this boss any more perfect than I had. And of course it skips the entire Death Egg, the end game boss fights there. So now we go straight to Doomsday. And if you want to know why my times are a little slower than when I play the game on easy mode, first of all, there are because we were playing through fewer acts when playing through the game on easy mode. Number 2, there are load screens during the going back and forth between the levels in the time attack menu. And third of all the bosses take 6 to 8 hits to kill. So the fact I'm putting in a good time at all at this stage shouldn't come as much of a surprise. So yeah, I'm just trying to avoid hitting any of the asteroids. And 3 times. 6, so just 2 more hits. And that's 8. All I have to do now is bulldoze the Death Egg Robot Mark II for the final time. And this time it takes 8 hits. There are all these asteroids and those bombs that slow us down. But we have a good steady supply of rings, so it's not too bad. Could have gone a little faster, but I don't really care. Because we finished all of time attack mode. And with 41.5 seconds, you know what? I made the previous extra modes video of Sonic 3 a little long by doing both. Why not break the precedence? Let's do special stages now. And luckily there are no super long load times in between these special stages. And this time, I'm gonna leave my work relatively complete, so I know where I came from. So I know where I should go in order to backtrack. Took that shortcut, and I'm going to ignore those 2 for now because we are still working on completing this section. As well as this section. Now I just have to backtrack to where it all started, and we are good to go. It's not perfect, but it's pretty fast, it's convenient, and I don't have to worry about getting lost. I would recommend tweaking your strategy if you were to replicate my strategy if I were you, because this requires some jumping over 2 spheres instead of the usual 1, which is super frame specific. And insanely hard to pull off normally. Luckily, this special stage isn't quite as difficult. Jump over that. That was also another frame perfect jump that I need to make too, just to get all the clusters. But luckily it's just the one time in this stage. And that's the final cluster, we get our continue. Try to collect the file 4, and that's that. So another stage, another perfect, another Chaos Emerald. Again, I have no idea what would happen if you lose one of these special stages. Does it keep going? Does it stop? Does it just show... Does it go through each one time and then show all the emeralds you happen to collect? I don't know. Or does it stop as soon as you fail? So this special stage isn't too bad. It's probably the easiest of the Sonic and Knuckles special stages to get perfect in. Even with it sped up quite a bit. Which is why when doing a perfect playthrough of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I often save this one for last, so I could continue farming for continues. The 6th special stage is also a good choice for it, provided you know the level layout pretty well. And I breezed through another one pretty handily. 3 down, 4 a go. And the next one is super difficult if played normally or on the original, on either normal or original. But on easy mode, this special stage is honestly a cakewalk. Alright, and... But because the special stages never speed up when played, since these are based on the game's easy mode, and they never speed up when played on easy mode, or in special stage mode, for that matter, this level is kinda easy. It only gets hard when it's getting faster and faster and you try and nab all the rings. No, they are a cinch to clear. And that's 4 special stages in the books. Four down, 3 to go. Alright, and let's go ahead and clear these out. Yeah, I'm literally repeating the same strategy I performed last time. Because with this one, after all, if it works the first time, you might as well keep doing it over and over again. It's one of the reasons why you have so much evil in the world. That's also the reason why we have a lot of good in the world and why we are able to consistently solve the same problems over and over again. Now, of course, go straight 3 times and a sharp turn. Another turn, and that's that. To avoid getting lost in the next special stage, I basically had to create my own little graph, or present with the order in which cluster to go to in what order. Starting with the one right here at number 1, I just take out half of those because I intend to end where I'll begin, so I could ensure a perfect record without having to skip any. Yellow spring or spheres don't matter to me. Now you might be wondering why I keep commenting when what I'm doing is so blaze straightforward and I don't need to provide commentary and everything. Honestly, it's really copyright. It really boils down to copyright system. YouTube's copyright system is completely effed up. As a guilty till proven innocent sort of deal. And they are so overly reliant on bots to try to ensure that no copyright is being violated. To the point that they will immediately flag a video for copyright just for having a lyrical song in it. Even if the party in question isn't the one that copyrighted it. In fact, no other party copyright, it's just immediately assumed to be under copyrights. It's bull. Anyways, we completed another easy one. And alongside the third special stage, probably the easiest one to farm for continues. For this one is a bit of a devil to complete. Some nifty tricks. We're sorry later on when we go through a similar cluster as this one, but one that turns some of the blue spheres into rings. If you are playing this in Sonic Origins Plus, you will have to jump over the middle sphere, but in the Genesis and Saturn versions, and all other versions based on them, on those two, you don't have to worry about jumping over those rings. Over that middle blue sphere, you could just walk right through it and they'll all turn anyways. I guess Sega just wanted to show us mercy back then, I don't know. But if you were playing the Origins Plus version, you will have to jump over the middle sphere. Jump, and that's that. That's all the special stages in the game completely cleared out. So that means we're done with all the base games, right? Well, not exactly. Well, we did. And here's another extra life. Just like last time, we got 8 extra lives for 7 special stages. Now Sonic can be Super Sonic. Too bad we can't put this to use at all. But you might mean, oh, now it's time for us to take on Sonic World, right? Well, not exactly. Remember, Sonic and Knuckles is a lock-on game. So, which means next time, we are going to try all the different lock-on combinations with Sonic and Knuckles. Which game I'm going to do? Well, you got to tune in next time to find out. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. With all the way, This is Mike Gorin, sign out.